in my domain, got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane, it's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty, now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine, we live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we prepare for our continuation of the 6th season of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series. Getting ready to go racing under the lights here at Texas Motor Speedway for the run of the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. 51 laps of racing here tonight, so it's going to be a little bit longer than our Tax Layer Truck Series and Pizza Deck Series events here this past weekend. That could very well be a key factor into a fuel strategy race here tonight. Line up on the pole position for the second straight week is going to be Kat Batson in the 70. Started on the pole last week at Sonoma. That didn't exactly help her to a great finish, but it now ties her with Anthony McCrury as a two-time pole sitter this season, and obviously locks her into next year's clash at Daytona as well. But she lines up on the pole spot. Alongside of her is going to be Daniel Guilbert in the 4. Both these drivers looking to kind of rebound what's been a dismal start to the season for both of them. Coming into this race, Kat Batson is currently scored 41st in the standings. Daniel Guilbert is scored in 39th. We saw a driver last night in Aubrey Eselstein, the Pizza Deck Series race, who was 40th in the points, go to victory lane. So maybe, just maybe, something like that will happen for these drivers starting on the front row. Last week, we saw Tim Walch snap his winless streak, and I do have to make a bit of a disclaimer. It was not a 180 race winless streak that he snapped. It was actually 154 races that he snapped his winless streak. I did a miscalculation and added an entire other 36 race season. It was 154 races that he snapped his winless streak at. Let's go down and get that command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So as the command is given, and we're getting these cars rolling off, let's give you your top 10 the point standings coming into this race. Dylan Poteet is now the new points leader after he had a solid top 10 run last week at Sonoma, taking the points lead away from K Shearer, who drops to second. J Baskinger is third in the points. Tim Walch, with his win last week at Sonoma, is now fourth in the standings, with Joshua Collard, who finished runner-up last week at Sonoma, in fifth. Trent Dunham, the defending champion, is 6th in points with Dylan Young in 7th. Jordan Anderson currently sits at 8th with Benjamin Miles and Sean Gallighan, completing your top 10 in the points coming into tonight's event. As far as former winners of this event, Season 1 it was Stephen Pollard III. Season 3 it was, not Season 3, I should say, Season 2, it was Brandon Gonzalez. He's in this field. Season 3, Dallas McIntosh, our Daytona 500 winner, went to victory lane. Season 4, James McCloud, who's still trying to find victory lane, and last season's Texas race was won by former champion Chris Dodd. So 4 former champions of this, 4 former winners, I should say, of this race in this field here tonight. Will they be able to double down, or will we see a new driver go to victory lane? Only time will tell. Kat Batson, Daniel Guilbert will lead them down. The O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas is green. Let's roll. Now, we're not 100% sure of a good, clear-cut fuel window for these drivers here tonight. All we can go is based off of past races from this weekend. 2 nights ago, we did have a couple of drivers who could not make it the full 34 lap distance on fuel. That was CTS physics, and last night's Pizza X Series race had a number of drivers diving to pit road in the last 2 to 3 laps of that race. That was GNS physics. Daniel Gilbert leads that lap, but now Sean Gallighan will fly by for the top position. Galligan's been a bit of a surprise, actually. I just, when I was going and running down the order of who was where in the point standings, and then I noticed that Sean Gallighan had cracked the top 10, I was like, whoa, didn't expect that. Never really took much notice of the consistent runs Galligan's been having here at the beginning of the season. So Sean Gallighan kind of one of those under-the-radar drivers so far here this year. Last night, Pizza X Series race, the 3 went to victory lane with Aubrey Eselstein, a Michael Norman Motorsports driver. Brooke Allen still looking for her first career win. Drag racing with Benny Watson to the line, and I believe the 24 got it. Now 3 wide for the race lead, 3 wide for second. That's Zachary Fitzwater down there, along with Blaine Keys, a couple of Chevy Camaros, and then the 12 of Cody Smart, who had a very good run last week at Infineon. That run for Cody Smart moved him up to 16th in the point standings. Now he moves into second behind Blaine Keys. Keys is the driver right now for Sega Motorsports, who's got the longest winless streak, hasn't won since season 4. Back at the M&M Super Speedway. That was the race that got him into the playoffs. Kat Batson started on the pole, faded back. She's back to the front again, and now Levi McIntire right behind her. McIntire now to the inside as they're 3 wide, about 3, 4, 5 rows deep. Boy, this is a hornet's nest back here. Somehow they're keeping it together, but good heavens. It's like watching a super speedway race. Look at this. JT Bryant, Sean Gallighan, J Arndt all caught here in the middle lines. J Arndt after that solid top 5 run last week at Sonoma. Points leader Dylan Poteet's in this. There you see him down that inside line. The Stanley Tools 31 black and yellow car. How they are keeping this together, I don't know, but boy, that is close quarter racing. They just kind of, it's like an accordion. They're stretched out through the corner, and then they squeeze together on the exit of the turn 2 area. Levi McIntire out in front, but not for long. James Richardson now to the inside, the 5-hour Energy Toyota Camry. And right behind him comes Jordan Anderson in the 89. Battle for the Rookie of the Year honors really close right now between a couple of drivers. Anderson is one of those drivers. Josh McCloud currently is the leader of the rookie points by 1 point over Elijah Gilbert, 3 points over Jordan Anderson, and 4 points over RJ Reynolds. It's actually only 8-point separation between them, and there's 4 wide and there's a wreck. Kyle Keith was one of the drivers involved. I couldn't tell who the other was. With J Baskinger. Yellow flag will wave for the first time tonight. They were holding 3 wide all right, and if my eyes didn't deceive me, they tried 4 wide going into turn 1. So Jordan Anderson is going to lead us under our first caution of the evening. I believe this is our latest caution of the week. I believe both the Taxi Truck Series and Pizza X Series had their cautions come out on laps 6 and lap 7, and it took till lap 9 for the yellow flag to wave here for the Hersheys Cup Series drivers. I gotta say, I don't see a heck of a lot of damage on either the 29 or the 38. There's rear end damage on the back of the Target Chevy Camaro. There's left side damage on Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats Chevy of Baskinger. Little rear end damage as well, but doesn't look like anything fatal. Now the question is, who's going to risk coming to pit road? Are any of the race leaders coming to pit lane? I see nobody making an indication towards pit road. maybe the 7 of J Gardner. And yes, indeed, he's going to come to pit road. Blaine Keys is on pit lane, as well as Keith and Baskinger, and that's it. 4 drivers taking the opportunity to come to pit road here under our first caution of the evening. Let's see what happened with that 4-wide situation heading into turn 1. So at this point, they're 3 wide. Kat Batson, Kyle Keith, Jake Baskinger. Watch the 26 of Daniel Voyles get a big run here. He has a lot of momentum, and instead of checking up, decides he's going to continue with that momentum and try making a move 4 wide down here into turn 1. There was a lane to be able to make that move, to his credit, but still. Oh, and there you see the contact as Kat Batson realizes the 26 is there. She moves up, gets into Kyle Keith, and then there's nowhere for the 38 to go. Both those cars going to go up there. A little bit of contact there as well for the 83 of Emmanuel Hartnett. Not really a whole lot of significant contact, but may have a little bit of damage on the right front. And there you see the 29 and the 38 both spin around. Now the good news for both of them was they were both up on the higher line. Baskinger was up on the high line. Kyle Keith was 1 line lower. So the impact up into that safer barrier was not really that bad, as opposed to maybe a transition from the low line all the way up to the safer barrier. So, like I said, I don't think these drivers really sustained a whole lot of damage, and to be honest, I don't think it's enough damage to have them off the pace either. So they may very well have gotten away with something here. They may have just gotten away with a little boo-boo on their race cars, and we're going to be able to continue on. 1 to green signal has been given. We'll go back racing on lap 14 of 51. There you see down there the drivers that came to pit road, Gardner, Keith, Keys, and Baskinger, all continuing on, all still on the lead lap. So after our first caution, no drivers out of the race, and all 42 cars will be receiving the green flag for the restart. Jordan Anderson, the defending Pizza X Series champion, out in front looking for his first career win in the Hersheys Cup Series. He lines up ahead of Jessica Shelton, Leon Alvarise, Shane Lake, and James Richardson. That's your top 5, with Kat Batson, Levi McIntyre, Charles Sanford, RJ Reynolds, and Daniel Voyles, your top 10. We've already had 1 rookie go to victory lane this season. That was Joshua Collard back at Bristol. Jordan Anderson trying to become the 2nd. Out of turn 4. Time to go back racing. Single file restart, and if it holds true, we've had in our last 2 races here this weekend, we've had some good hard racing, a caution, and then green flag to the end. Will that be the case here tonight in the Hersheys Cup Series race as the green flag is back in the air? First car to step on the line, that was Levi McIntyre for the 6th position on Kat Batson. We'll complete the pass. One thing that we've noticed is if you're going to make passes for position, you're going to want to do it early while the tire temps are low. As the race progresses on, more grips gets into the track and the tire heats kick up, that outside line can tend to get a little bit of a run out of turn 2. 3 wide for 2nd. Leon Alvarise kicked up to the top side, as now it turns into a battle between James Richardson and Shane Lake, and Levi McIntyre is a man on a mission. He may have thoughts about 3 wide down here into 3. I think Richardson thought the same thing. Crowded Shane Lake up and said, hey, give me a line. That 99 is coming. Levi McIntyre trying to go to victory lane for the first time since season 4 when he took the checkered flag at Lime Rock. Now all over the back bumper of Jordan Anderson, and boy, McIntyre making it look easy. Restarted back in the 7th position. He's now up battling for the lead within 2 laps. At 99 is a strong fusion. Kat Batson already proving that she has a very fast Lincoln Continental and put it on the pole here tonight. Now she's going to try and go for the top spot. Kat Batson trying to go to victory lane for the first time since season 3, if I recall correctly, when she won at 2 road courses that season, Infineon and Watkins Glen. As a matter of fact, last week, I believe, marked the 2-year anniversary of Kat Batson's first career Hersheys Cup Series win. Now she'll lose the top spot to the Goodwill Ford Fusion of R.J. Reynolds. Reynolds in the 69, moving up from the Pizza Hut X Series, where he was a contender for the championship last year. Now out in front, showing the way, and he will lead this lap. Oh, look out back there, stuck 3 wide. Well, it was 3 wide for a moment, but Jordan Anderson got back down to the bottom. Look who else is making his way up towards the front. That's the 23 of B Gonzales. It seems like the Hyundai Sonata and the Nissan Altima can't seem to get away from each other. They always seem to be around each other. And they're side by side right now for that 3rd position. Gonzales in the 23, Voyles in the 26. And indeed it was season 3 when Kat Tellier went to victory lane in those 2 races at Infineon and Watkins Glen. So actually last week was the 3-year anniversary of her first career Hersheys Cup Series win. Here comes Zachary Fitzwater in the 59. Fitzwater, who won the Clash at Daytona at the beginning of the season. We haven't really talked a whole lot about him since then, but he is 11th in the points coming into this race, so he's had a very consistent start to the season. Right now he's got a teammate right behind him in Jordan Anderson. Fitzwater has had very good runs to start off the year, just on the outside of the top 10 in points, looking in. And he's already, as we said, taken a checkered flag. It was a non-points win in the Clash, now trying to take his first points-paying checkered flag of the season. Take a look who's now moving up in a battle for 3rd. There's a couple of Ford Fusions. Top side, R.J. Reynolds. Low side, Dylan Young, 7th in the points coming into this race. Trying to find victory lane. Another driver that's running well in the points, Benjamin Miles, 9th in the standings, has cracked the top 10. As teammates out in front. This looks kind of familiar. Think back to last night's Pizza Deck Series race when it was Aubrey Eselstein and Phil Parker, teammates out of Michael Norman Motorsports that were 1-2. Well, now you've got teammates out of Fitzwater Australia Racing that are 1-2, but that may not last long. Here come a couple of Fords, R.J. Reynolds and Dylan Young with a big run down the back straightaway. And last night was a good showing for Michael Norman Motorsports, and it's a good showing tonight for the team as well. Take a look at a couple of their race cars here, battling currently for the 6th position. Daniel Gilbert in the 4, contact! Caution's out. But that was interesting, oh my goodness. Just talking about them and they nearly took each other out. The yellow flag is waving for the 2nd time tonight. It's the first time this weekend we have had more than one caution wave during the course of an event, and it looks like we had an incident on the back straightaway all the way through turn 3 and into partially into turn 4. And this may have been a big break for all of these drivers who may have had to start thinking about making some green flag pit stops. I think we're going to see the whole field come to pit road here under this yellow, which is taking place just barely before the midway point of this race. Charles Sanford is on pit road in the 0-3, so he was involved in whatever it was. Jake Baskinger, 2nd caution he's been involved in tonight. He's on the pit lane. We'll see if there's any other drivers sitting on pit road here as Jordan Anderson hits pit road. No, looks like that was the only 2 drivers that are on pit lane. Doesn't necessarily mean they're the only 2 drivers that were involved in the wreck. Sanford comes into this race currently 34th in points. Baskinger came in 3rd in the standings, so he could ill afford a poor performance here tonight. It's coming off pit road. Looks like Jordan Anderson will very easily win the off pit lane. He will be the leader when we go back green. Looks like R.J. Reynolds will be 2nd, Dylan Young 3rd, although Dylan Young's got some right side damage there. Then Zachary Fitzwater and Tim Walsh is going to be your top 5. So the 15 team picking up some spots on pit road. Last week's winner will be starting in the top 5 for the restart. Jordan Anderson will be the race leader. Let's take a look and see what brought out the caution for the 2nd time here tonight at Texas. This was pretty close towards the rear of the field. Watch the 51 of J McCloud, a former winner here. He gets way up the racetrack, tries to gather it back up, but by the time he turns down low to avoid the wall, Charles Sanford is already to his inside. The two of them kind of lock bumpers. Oh, wow. Both hit that inside safer barrier pretty well. And McCloud's going to go back up the racetrack right in front of Blaine Keys, and we had a lot of drivers collected up in that one. Johnny Gardner was in that. Cody Smart was in it. Cole Baker, Joshua Collard, Anthony McCrury is up there. Just wadded up everybody that was caught up on that high side. Collard drives around, but he got some damage, as did McCrury. Baker, pretty heavy contact on the front. Oh, and there's where J Baskinger got involved as he clobbers the 42 of Blaine Keys. It looks like Blaine Keys didn't even make it back to pit road. That's brought out the caution for the second time here tonight, and that was, I think, a result of tires going away and grip very lacking here, especially off the exit of 2. Multi-car wreck leading up into 3 and 4, and puts us under the yellow flag for the second time here tonight. It'll be a rookie 1-2 restart with Jordan Anderson, R.J. Reynolds lining up nose to tail. Dylan Young, Zachary Fitzwater, Tim Walsh your top 5 with Daniel Gilbert, Benjamin Miles, Brandon Gonzales, Sean Gallighan, and Daniel Voyles your top 10. You see Charles Sanford. He's able to continue, but he is one lap down to the race leaders. He'll restart on the inside line. I don't know if he'll necessarily be up to speed or not after the impact we saw him take into the inside safer barrier. We had one caution, nobody out of the race, not so lucky this time. The garage area is starting to fill up as Cole Baker, James McCloud, Blaine Keys, and J Baskinger have all taken their cars back behind the wall. Drivers take the biggest hit in the point stands as a result of his finish. It's going to be J Baskinger, 42nd here tonight, came into the race in the 3rd position in the point standings. We'll have to keep tabs on Joshua Collard, Anthony McCrury, a couple of those other drivers that got collected up in the wreck, Cody Smart as well in the 12. And also, I'm going to want to be very interested here on this restart to see how good a start and how good Dylan Young's going to be. He's got that right side damage, which I'm assuming might have been from contact on pit road. Don't know how that's going to affect him aerodynamically wise and whether he'll be able to stay up here in this lead pack. But Jordan Anderson gets us back underway here on lap 28 of 51. And there you see just how clearly off the pace Charles Sanford is. Everybody going to swing around him on the high side. For the moment, Dylan Young looks okay. And yeah, looks like he's still up to speed, so I guess that little bit of damage isn't really going to affect him that badly. As Anderson shows the top spot, but his teammates got a big head of steam. Zachary Fitzwater along with Daniel Gilbert and Brandon Gonzales down on that bottom of the racetrack. Now Gilbert making a move to the inside. That's for second. Talked about how Dylan Poteet took the points lead away from K Shearer last week in Infineon. Well, don't look now. The 34 is starting to make his way towards the top 10. Matter of fact, I think he just cracked the top 10. He did. He's in the 10th position as lead change. One Camaro to the other. Daniel Gilbert out in front. Gilbert with a rear decklet full of Brandon Gonzales, and now Gonzales is going to have a challenge low. Benjamin Miles for the spot. Sean Gallighan right there as well in the 44. That under-the-radar driver all of a sudden starting to bring himself to the forefront of the attention of everybody. Miles will move to the top position. We had a car that was leaving pit road there. I'm assuming that was the 12 of Cody Smart, who had damage from that last caution. Ooh, gracious. Daniel Voyles with a handful there through 3 and 4, stuck in the middle 3 wide between Fitzwater and Gilbert, and he nearly went up and wrecked the 4 cars there. 4 wide. Ooh, please don't. Yikes. McIntyre, Gonzales, Kat Batson, that was scary. front. Benjamin Miles enjoying the view for the moment. Second place there, Gallighan. Third place, Fitzwater. These three running so well in points. They're 9th, 10th, and 11th in points in the way that they're running right now in the standings. How ironic is that? We had rookies up towards the front there. We had Shane Lake. We had Jordan Anderson and RJ Reynolds. Now Shane Lake is the highest running rookie of the race. Another driver out of Fitzwater Australia Racing, as he's now going to take the third position away from his teammate. Here comes a former winner at this track, Dallas McIntosh, our Daytona 500 winner. Now making his way up into the top 5. Slow car up ahead, that's Charles Sanford. Oh, he's holding up some people. And I think he's going to hold up that outside line. Going here into turn 3. No, he's not. He's going to hold the inside line. McIntosh going to get around top side, it looks like. Mathews trying to do the same. Sanford's actually playing some defense here for his teammate in the 09. At the same time, he's holding up another teammate, Jessica Shelton, on the bottom. Gallighan's going to get around up top side. McIntire's going to get around the high side. That whole inside line is wadded up. And that just split the field up big time as well. Top 3 have really broken away by almost 2 seconds back to 4th place Dallas McIntosh. Got Miles, Batson, and Shane Lake right now, the top 3. But bear in mind, those drivers all came to pit road back around lap 24, I think it was. I don't know necessarily if they can make it the entire rest of the way on fuel if this thing goes green flag to the end. We may not have seen our last pit stop for all of these drivers in this field. Miles, though, getting some very valuable bonus points out in front, continuing to show the way. ML Motorsports already has a win this weekend with Patrick Curtis going to victory lane in the Truck Series race, so Benjamin Miles trying to make it 2 for 3 this weekend for the team. Kat Batson's got a very fast race car as well. We know that for certain, but I think what she's doing right now is maybe playing the fuel conservation game. Allowing the 25 to cut the win. Kat Batson able to save a little bit of fuel there, running in the draft at the 25. Now she's going to challenge for the top position, though. And Shane Lake right there in 3rd, waiting to see what's going to happen. As 4th place under contest, Zachary Fitzwater currently in possession of that, but right now as this group continues to battle amongst themselves, they are losing ground to the top 3. Gonzales, McIntyre, McIntosh, Anderson, Gallighan, they're all up in this group. Kyle Mathews as well. Along with Jessica Shelton. Whoa, almost some contact there between some Retro Racing Enterprises teammates. Drivers continue to run in a bigger pack and they battle up here, they may be able to reel in the top 3. We're going to have to wait and see. And if they do reel them in, can they reel them in quickly enough? There's about 4.15 second separation back and forth last time. Let's see what it is this time. Does it close? Does it increase? Close by about 2/10. According to the calculations, they'd need 19 more laps at that rate to be able to catch up to this top trio. They don't have that. They've only got 12 laps, 11 when Kat Batson hits the line. The battle continues to be for 2nd place, which continues to hurt their opportunity of staying ahead of that pack from 4th on back, because they're not lined up, they're not producing more speed, and it's causing, with their separation, them to basically be out there as if they're by themselves. Now they're back to single file formation, and they're going to catch back up, looks like again, to another slow car. This time is the 12 of Cody Smart. If they have difficulty getting around him, that's going to help that 2nd pack even more. Going to try and split him. Whoa! Cody Smart nearly crowding Kat. Oh no, save it! Oh, she just wrecked Charles Sanford! The race leader just wrecked the lap car. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my goodness! The big one has taken place at Texas as they all come flying in. Fitzwater, Gilbert, Shearer, Gallighan, Bryant, Watson's piled in. Oh man. Kyle Keith's involved. Oh no. Oh, they're still wrecking on the back straightaway. Gallighan and Srigley. Well, what was looking like was going to be a very interesting battle in the closing stages has turned into utter calamity. Oh my goodness. That was not what I was expecting. And as a result, Benjamin Miles is going to be the race leader, and we will get a restart with less than 10 to go. Saw a number of names of drivers that were running well in the point standings get collected up in that one. Gallighan, Shearer, McIntosh. Boy, let's see what happened. This was not what I was expecting to see in the closing stages of this race. Alright, Charles Sanford is a slower machine. Now watch when the leaders catch him. They at the same time had caught the slower car of Cody Smart. And watch this situation down here on the front straightaway. There's Smart. Now he's trying to get out of the way of the leaders, plus get around the 03. The 03's trying to give the inside line, doesn't realize Kat Batson's going to try and go around the outside. And Kat gets into him. Sanford's going to spin. And then I just knew that this was not going to be good with that gap that was back to 4th place. When right here, that contact between Sanford and Batson is going to send the 03 down the racetrack. And then here comes that entire second pack, and you just knew this was not going to be good. He comes down to the racing groove. Nowhere for Daniel Gilbert to go. You saw him try and slow down. There he gets involved. There's Fitzwater. Gallighan's going to get clipped. There's K Shearer trying the outside. No way he was able to get through. Whoa, contact there for the 88 of Chris Dodd. We'll look further up in just a moment, but I want to see all the drivers that made contact with the 03. And there comes another pack of race cars momentarily. And keep in mind, all these drivers were split up because they were trying to get around Sanford that first time. There's J.T. Bryant getting involved. There's Benny Watson in the 24 getting a piece of it. Some contact right there for Keith Batson. There's Joshua Collard getting a piece in the 33. And then Sanford's going to teleport to pit road. Let me find the 44 of Gallighan, because I think the continuation of the wreck is with him. He's going to get clipped right there from Zachary Fitzwater. I thought Dallas McIntosh was involved, but he actually got through it pretty well. And Gallighan's going to hit that outside wall pretty well, as in that Chevy. And then we had something happen with him and I believe Joseph Srigley further up here. This was down the back straightaway. Srigley was trying to make his way through traffic, and I don't know what that was all about. Whatever it was, Srigley got the worst end of it. His car flipped over onto his roof. I don't understand that. I think the only thing I could think of is maybe Gallighan was trying to keep his car down towards the apron. The 21 was down low. 21 was trying to turn right to come back on the racetrack. Gallighan was turning left to try and stay down on the apron out of the way of everybody else, and those two paths intersected. But there you go. Got a car flip over here as a result of that. Oh, and then Srigley is going to get rear-ended and side-swiped by the 08 of L Alvarise. So that wreck happened from the entry of turn 1, actually more like halfway between the straightaway and turn 1, all the way to the midway point of the backstretch. And we're more likely going to have a lot more drivers out of the race, and a number of them were running up inside the top 10 at the moment of the caution. Here we go then. It'll be 5 laps to go to finish out this race. Benjamin Miles showing the way. Shane Lake lines up second. Then you got a lap car of Cody Smart between him and third place Brandon Gonzales. Jordan Anderson and Jessica Shelton's your top 5 with Levi McIntyre, Daniel Voyles, Alex Drayton, RJ Reynolds, and Dylan Poteet. That's your top 10. Drivers out of the race after that include Sean Gallighan, Zachary Fitzwater, K Shearer, Daniel Gilbert, Benny Watson, Kyle Keith, Charles Sanford. They join Cole Baker, James McCloud, Lane Keys, and Jake Baskinger in the garage area. As look at Jessica Shelton shoot out of a cannon. Using the 12 of Cody Smart as a pick, she'll move to third. McIntyre's going to move to fourth. This driver's still having difficulty getting around the 12. Benjamin Miles, I think right now, hoping and praying that either he can stay ahead of the leaders with no caution coming out, or if he can't stay ahead of the leaders, then he can get a caution and end this race under yellow. Shelton now for second off of Shane Lake. Looks like she's going to take the spot off turn 2. Now sets her sights on the Napa Chevy Camaro of Benjamin Miles. Benjamin Miles trying to hang on to this win. Got through that wreck. Was in the right place at the right time. He's going to have to hold off Shelton. He's going to have to do it for 3 laps. And here comes Levi McIntyre in the 99. Brandon Gonzales in the 23 now trying to make their way into this conversation. Shelton, will she look low here in turn 3? Nope, can't do it this time. Well, look now, but Jordan Anderson's now back up in the mix as well, and he took some time out in front. Benjamin Miles trying to get his first win since last season when he won the longest race of the year at the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte, a track very similar to this track's configuration. 1.5 laps left to go. Miles doing a good job keeping the 0-2 in his rearview mirror, but can he do it for one more lap? Still green, will race back to the checkers as the white flag is displayed one more time around. Miles, Shelton, they're going to settle it out here for this race win. If Shelton's going to make the move, it's going to have to be here on the back straightaway, and she lost a little bit of ground there through turns 1 and 2. Can she get to the inside here in 3? No, she can't. Benjamin Miles, for the moment, looks like he's going to hold off Jessica Shelton and get his first win of the season. Miles takes the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas. Benjamin Miles, what a win here tonight for a driver who won last year, but his Coke 600 win. Actually, hold on, I think his Coke 600 win did get him into the playoffs. Yes, it did. It got him into the playoffs, but he was eliminated in the second round. Well, what a run here tonight, and ML Motorsports has gone 2 for 3 this race weekend now. Benjamin Miles, who I think is very quickly getting himself up towards the top of most wins in the Hersheys Cup Series, takes the checkered flag here tonight in this one. And man, he really had to drive the wheels off that thing to hold off Jessica Shelton too. There were a couple of times I thought Shelton was going to be able to get a nose on him, but just could not do it. Miles wins the race here tonight. A driver that came into this race 9th in the point standings. This win, considering, if he can continue the consistent season he's had, this could very well have locked him up a spot in the playoffs for this season. He'll take the checkers, though. Jessica Shelton will have to settle for second place, but certainly a good run for Jessica, who's really been struggling this year. Last week at Sonoma, dropped 12 spots in the standings to 21st, so this will help pick her back up. Shane Lake gets rookie of the race just barely over Jordan Anderson. Great run for both of those rookie contenders. They get 3rd and 4th. Levi McIntyre will finish the day out with a top 5 in 5th. 6th place was Alex Drayton. 7th place for Brandon Gonzales. Trent Dunham, great run for him at his home track as he'll get 8th. Dylan Poteet will continue to hold the points lead, I do believe, as he's going to finish the day out in 9th. And Brooke Allen will complete the top 10 in that 10th position. Just look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, and you'll notice that we had some drivers finish off the lead lap. It looked like we had some drivers that couldn't make it on fuel here in the closing stages. McIntosh 24th, Walsh 25th, McCrury 26th, Batson 27th, Bryant 28th, and Dylan Young in 29th. All finishing off the lead lap, not able to complete the race with the fuel they had left in the tank. Joseph Srigley finished 2 laps down in 30th. Cody Smart finished 3 laps down in 31st. And there's the rest of the drivers that finished out of the race. Some drivers going to take big hits in the point standings. Gallighan came in this race 10th in points. You got Fitzwater, who was 11th in points. K Shearer came in 2nd in the point standings. So they're definitely going to take huge hits, and J Baskinger came in third in points. So this is going to definitely shuffle the points up quite a bit, I think, heading into our upcoming race. But thank you all for tuning into tonight's race from Texas. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, to become part of the crew today. We've shown your full finish results, these are your rookie points and your overall points heading next week. It's just the Hersheys Cup Series drivers next week as we prepare for the event a lot of people look forward to. It's our Mud Summer Classic at Eldora Raceway. You're not going to want to miss it. But till then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.